Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys. Cowboys CeeDee Lamb sounds off on his performance alongside Dak Prescott. It certainly wasn't supposed to be this way. The chemistry between these two has been phenomenal all season, but during the playoff opener against the Packers, a 48-32 disaster at every level. The inability of Prescott and Lamb to get on the same page was one of the bizarre side stories that summed up the Cowboys' very bad day. Lamb's numbers wound up being decent, 9 catches for 110 yards, but most of those came when the Cowboys were already well behind, in a desperate attempt to mount a comeback. In the first half, Lamb only managed 1 catch, and it came just before the 2-minute warning in the second quarter. Despite receiving 18 targets, 5 of those came in the first half, and Lamb caught just 1 pass. Clearly, Prescott and Lamb were out of sync, and both seemed to express frustration with each other. One pass was a clear drop that hit Lamb right in the hands, and another was an overthrow from Prescott. Lamb was the target when Packers safety Darnell Savage stepped in front of a Prescott pass, making an interception and running for a touchdown, which pushed the score to 27-0 late in the second quarter. After the game, Lamb spoke candidly about the performance. We missed completions that we normally have. Obviously, on my part, I could have been better. I'm sure he could say the same for himself, but I'm not pointing fingers. We could have both done a better job. Both Lamb and Prescott had a stellar season. Prescott, a legitimate MVP candidate, finished third in the NFL with 4,561 yards passing and second among starting quarterbacks, with a 105.9 passer rating. Lamb had a breakout year, leading the NFL with 135 catches and finishing second in yardage, with 1,749 yards. He also had 12 touchdowns, ranking third in that category and 80 first downs. According to Pro Football Focus, Lamb was rated as the third-best receiver in the league with a 91.1 grade, behind only Tyreek Hill and Brandon Ayuk of the 49ers. It was incredibly frustrating for both the team and the fans to watch such a highly successful duo struggle to connect in a crucial game. At one point during the broadcast, play-by-play announcer Kevin Burkhardt even remarked that there was a very weird vibe between Prescott and Lamb. After the game, Lamb didn't make excuses. Obviously, we didn't come out and execute like we should have. The rest was downhill, he said, acknowledging that the team was playing from behind, which put them in obvious passing situations and made them one-dimensional. Lamb reflected on the loss with a sense of disappointment, but noted that it felt the same as all the previous playoff losses. It still feels the same. We lost, he said. When asked to sum up his emotions, he simply replied, terrible. Obviously, I wish we were playing next week, but unfortunately, that is not the case. Speaking on his slow start to the game and the fact that he didn't make a catch until nearly halftime, Lamb described it simply. It was tough, man. Tough. It's understandable that it was tough on CeeDee Lamb, but it was equally tough for everyone watching, especially considering the expectations surrounding the Cowboys this season. But the problems extended far beyond Lamb's struggles. Dak Prescott's future with the Cowboys is now in serious question after the dismal playoff performance. Analysts are suggesting that his options may go beyond just an extension. Fox Sports' David Hellman believes that Prescott's future with the team is a real question mark following the underwhelming playoff loss to the Packers. I don't think anything's off the table after this regarding Mike McCarthy's future, Hellman wrote on X in a January 14, 2024 post. Personally, I'm more interested in the Dak situation. His current deal is going to hurt their cap in 2024. He had a career year. But how does this inspire any confidence moving forward? Prescott has 1 season left on a 4-year, $60 million contract, but his enormous $59.4 million cap hit in 2024 indicates that the Cowboys desperately need to sign him to an extension. After a season that saw Prescott in the MVP conversation, many expected the Cowboys to sign him to an extension this offseason. However, Now there will be serious questions about whether they should allow him to play out the final year of his deal. For salary cap reasons, it makes the most sense for the Cowboys to sign Prescott to an extension. Even if they wanted to evaluate Prescott for one more year, it would be unrealistic to have such a large cap hit next season. As ESPN's Todd Archer pointed out, an extension would greatly benefit the Cowboys by freeing up cap space, allowing them to re-sign other players like CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons or pursue free agents. Without it, the Cowboys will face major salary cap constraints. The expectation is that Prescott will be due for a significant contract extension, and the team will need to make a decision sooner rather than later. Following the blowout loss to the Packers, Dak Prescott faced criticism, but he stood by head coach Mike McCarthy. When asked about the future of McCarthy, Prescott supported his coach, saying, "I've had the season I've had because of him. This team has had the success we've had because of him." In fact, all three Cowboys quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Trey Lance, and Cooper Rush, are under contract for 2024, but the franchise's future seems murky. Meanwhile, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones sent an ominous message about the team's future after the painful loss. Underneath AT&T Stadium, as the media gathered to ask what Jones was going to do to fix the Cowboys, he made it clear he wouldn't be addressing anything about the team's future just yet. "I don't have any thoughts on the reasons why or anything to do with the coaching or players," Jones said. "This is one of my biggest surprises since I've been involved in sports. I know how disappointed everybody is, but I won't be addressing any specifics right now." However, Jones did offer an ominous statement about McCarthy's future with the Cowboys, calling the loss the most painful he could remember because he had such high expectations for the team. "I can't look back at other playoff losses, but this one feels the most painful because we all had such great expectations and hope for this team," Jones said. "I thought we were aligned and in great shape, but it didn't happen for us." Jones, who appeared visibly upset during the game, was repeatedly shown reacting angrily in the owner's box, particularly when the Cowboys were trailing 41-16. "Jerry Jones is sick AF about his Cowboys," wrote one Twitter user, as an image of Jones looking upset was shared. Despite his frustration, Jones dodged questions about McCarthy or any other personnel changes. The Cowboys' future remains unclear, with key players like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and Micah Parsons either entering free agency or being eligible for extensions this offseason. While McCarthy's job could be the first issue addressed, the team's entire outlook hinges on the decisions made in the coming months. Jones knows that as the owner and general manager, the responsibility for the Cowboys' failure falls squarely on his shoulders. "I'm floored," Jones said after the game, "but I know there's no world's smallest violin being played for me. I get that. I understand it. I know where the responsibility starts and ends." Despite the crushing defeat, Jones acknowledged the weight of the team's failure and the expectations that the fans and the city of Dallas have placed on the Cowboys.